right, gotta turn the microphone up. Yes, welcome to Co-Video Live TV, episode number 43. Hope everyone is having a good day. It's Thursday. I have to remind you, earlier on in the show, we had to remind people the day. I had to remind myself the day. It is Thursday, May 21st. Welcome to Co-Video Live TV, episode number 43. Nobody commenting in the chat. I always want to comment, mention the first person to comment, so hurry up and get something up there and I will mention it. Okay, Co-Video Live TV, we got a full show for you. We got two guests. You get a 2-for-1 with our first guest joining us first, but in the safety of those coming on the show, I do need to take a quick temporal scan, as is the tradition here. 98.6, perfect temperature here in the studio today. I was able to keep the door open for a little bit, but I had to shut it because I didn't want my cat, my elderly blind cat, stumbling and bumbling into the room and meowing in the middle of the show. She has appeared on the show, though, so it wouldn't be the first time. Got that down, got this down. Let me turn this back up. All right, let's bring our first guest in out of the Co-Video Live TV virtual green room. Let's give a nice Co-Video Live TV welcome to Tim and Jessica Stibich. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fantastically. Where are you guys tonight? Where are you checking in from?
From our house.
Secret location?
We're in Hegwish.
Right. Hegwish. I've heard they have some pretty good pizza out there. What's that name of that one place? Starts with the P. Pudgy's Pizza. Yes. The proud proprietors of Pudgy's Pizza they are. Tell us a little bit about that. Right off the bat, tell me about it, what you got going on over there.
Well, Pudgy's have been open for a little over 25 years now, and the wife and I purchased it approximately 2.5 years ago. Very blessed to buy a business that was already successful, and we just kept on doing the same things, same recipes, a lot of the same workers. A lot of the same loyal customers.
Has it been 2 years that you've owned it now?
2.5.
2.5, yeah, because I saw you back at the end of whatever year it was. You had just gotten into it. It was Joe Hoffer, Dr. Joe. He's been on the show. It was his birthday party. You brought some samples and you were just really getting knee deep into it, right?
Yes, we did.
December of 2018-ish or 17? Where am I at? Is that about right?
Sure. 2018, probably.
Got it.
Yeah.
He was a little slow, so maybe it was 2017.
It feels like the past 2 months feel like 2 years, so you could have told me it was 2016. I wouldn't have even known. Hey, my mother-in-law, who's Chaya, last name Chaya, her husband played drums in bands, and he played at Club 505 there, and they used to go to a pizzeria called Sam's.
Never heard of Sam's.
I thought you were going to say Sam's turned into Pudgy's, or Sam sold it to Pudgy or something like that. I don't know. This would have been in the 60s.
Yeah, no, there was a place called Snookies, and the lady who ran that, her sister opened up Pudgy's, and then her other sister opened up a place called Mama D's. Mm-hmm. All like within 3 blocks of one another.
But still, the absolute best pizza in Hegwish, or the whole damn city of Chicago, is Pudgy's, right?
Yes.
You got a good pizza. A lot of good pizza in Chicago, though.
Hey, I know, exactly. You guys were doing, I saw some of your postings on the Facebook, you were doing like a take-it-home thing. Don't you think that was kind of eating into your business? How did that go over?
Well, we during these times where people are quarantined, staying at home, we wanted to give them something to do, especially if you got kids. So we came up with a DIY kit where we discounted it, give kids, a chance to roll out their own dough and get creative and whatnot, and have some fun with it. I know our kids did it. So,
was there dough flying around your kitchen?
Flour.
I think you saw that you liked or commented on the picture. My son decided to get into pizza crust making, and he's made it twice now for us. The first time it didn't go too well. He accidentally had it on like 600 degrees or whatever the absolute maximum is, and it was a little rough. So,
yeah.
he was I didn't want to talk about it. Nonetheless, so business has been solid there. I mean, I assume that you guys were doing delivery or still doing delivery. You haven't opened up yet, right?
Yeah, we're very small as far as dine-in. We only have two small tables.
Mhm.
So this whole unfortunate situation hasn't really affected us as far as dine-in. We were always more or less carry out or delivery. So we've been a little bit busier than normal because I think partly because people can't go out to eat and whatnot. And I mean, people just kind of get sick of cooking every day.
Mhm.
So they allow us to get a good pizza.
Hey, in your spare time when you're not working the Pudgies, you're working for the Chicago Fire Department. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm a lieutenant on the Chicago Fire Department coming up on 20 years.
So the firemen typically have a reputation as being good cooks. Does this hold true in your house or no?
Yes,
I would say he has time and he does cook. It's very nice.
Right. So what have you been experimenting at all with some of the extra time, or have you had extra time to get into cooking for family meals at home?
experimenting? No, I just go with works.
With what works. So what's your? I should ask Jessica. What's the favorite thing that he has made lately that you really like?
Lately, uh, pizza, butter pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese.
Killer.
Hot dog.
He did make the sub sandwiches.
Grindus. Don't they call them grindus? Or is that Boston?
Yeah, grinders.
Right. Hey, I've had a couple different. I don't know. I should give some background information. We've known each other since the '80s, back to the Bishop Knoll days. That is why I have my Warriors hockey shirt on. What position did you play for the Warriors on ice?
I was a center. I was a little bit slimmer and a lot quicker back then.
Right, right. What did you have more of, penalty minutes or goals?
Ooh, that's kind of neck and neck. I led the team in points, but I think Mike Cleve beat me in penalty minutes. So
I tried to get another alum of the Warrior hockey team on, Mike Buchanan, but he said, in not so many words, his boss wouldn't think that'd be a good idea. I couldn't get any good info out of him.
yeah, good guy, good goalie.
And a funny man. I thought he could have added some level of humor to the show, something we all need right now.
He's definitely a funny person.
Who's on the show? I got one commenter, Larry Gorsuch, a good friend. Hello, Co-Video Live TV. Hey, you guys are, I hadn't seen you for a while, and we ran into each other with the CYO Sports, right? Jessica, you're the athletic director, assistant athletic director up at what school?
St. John the Baptist in Whiting.
Right. I always like coming up there to play at that gym. I love the gym there.
Me too. The kids had a great year with it until literally the weekend of basketball finals. It got shut down. So it kind of stinks that they didn't get to finish their season. And who knows if they're going to get a play in the fall or start on time. Not sure how that's all going to work. But yeah, we really enjoyed the CYO the last couple of years with the girls.
Definitely. Definitely. Your kids are, what, next year they'll be in what grades at St. John?
Sophie will be in 7th grade. Savannah is going to be in 6th, and Sydney is going to be a 4th grader.
Right, right. Are they talking about lowering the tuition based on having to work from home? No.
That I don't know.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be a bit? If somebody was suggesting that, so since they're working from home, do we get any kind of rebate or discount? No, no refunds were coming back. So sorry, I was just checking something here. The class of '86 was well represented on ice there. The class of 2020 won a state championship though as well, right? I heard they were playing locally at Midwest, right? Tim,
Yep,
you were there?
Yep, they beat Valparaiso for the state championship this year. They scored a goal, I believe it was in the last minute of the game to win 2-1.
Was the class of '86 represented there at the rink?
I don't know. I don't think anybody was there. I was going to go, but my daughter had her, actually turned out to be her last CYO basketball game for the year because her playoffs were literally at the same time that the hockey playoffs state championship was going on. So I know my brother, who was a class of '90, was there.
Right. Who coaches? Isn't there some connection to original players there? Who's coaching the team right now?
Rich Savilo.
Who played hockey for Knoll back in well, right? He's a little older than we are, right?
Yeah, I believe he graduated in '84.
Got it.
He went on to play for St. Mary's in Minnesota, and then he played for Notre Dame for a couple years.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he had an advanced career. Did you play in college at all?
I did. I played for Purdue
That's
back
right.
in. I
Yeah.
was slim.
Faster.
Sure.
Do you ever hear from the big defenseman Neil Florek? Have you ever heard from Neil lately?
I've seen him around. He plays harmonica and whatnot. Sings at a couple different places. I'm sure you've seen him. Back in the Scummy Fish days. That was a great band, Scummy Fish.
I know we were on a roll. We actually had a gig penciled in for this year. I have no idea what's going to happen. You'll hear more about it later, I guess. But I don't know. We were going to try. I was planning to play in a band in April last month. We were playing at that event, the same one that we had our reunion at last year. Well, that's all up in the air. My next guest is going to be talking a little bit about an upcoming show that they're actually doing live online. In Indiana, you can't even have more than 25 people in a room quite yet. And I assume 25 people would come out to see us, so it just wouldn't work. More than 25. It just wouldn't work.
We'll come out.
We'll bring
So what the difference is, do you think the difference between Illinois and Indiana as far as how they're handling this? If you don't want to get political, okay, can you dance a line there? Do you think that the two states are handling this whole thing and coming out of it or opening up with the economy? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, obviously, you want to do the right thing, the safe thing. It's just I don't think anybody really knows. No one's been in this situation before, so it's a tough situation to be in. Like I said, nobody wants to extend this any longer than we have to. So I understand that Indiana is slowly opening, where Illinois is kind of not opening
Until the 29th.
Well. They haven't officially announced that they were going to open after the 29th. They just said they were closed till the 29th. So it's just, hopefully eventually everybody gets back to work and whatnot. And, I mean, we're very fortunate to be open for a pizza business where our employees can continue to take a check and provide for their families and whatnot. So.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of work, back to your other job. How has the whole COVID, I say that all the time. How's the whole COVID-19 impacted what you do with the Chicago Fire Department?
Oh, well, we take precautions. Obviously, we have a mask on, we have gloves on. Depending on if we have to do CPR or whatnot, we take even further precaution, perhaps putting a gown on or a face shield. Nobody wants to get infected while you're out trying to help somebody who needs help. So, just very cautious of what we do out there, but yet still trying to help people in their time of need.
And I know you're frequently confused. People often confuse you with some of the actors on the show Chicago Fire, but my son wanted me to ask you how accurate it is. Is it at all like real life around the station?
There are certain parts that are real. The guy who actually writes for the show was a great guy, Steve Chikarotis. He was my instructor, actually the head guy down at the academy when I was there. So most of the stories are all based on real life situations.
Mm-hmm.
On TV, for example, when there's a fire and they're inside a fire and you can see everything, that's not reality. In reality, when you go in and there's a fire, usually you can't even see your hand in front of you, depending on how much smoke there is. But nobody wants to see a TV show where you can't see anything.
Yeah, that doesn't make for a good show at all. You hit the nail right on the head, right? All right, we are closing in on. We've run over. See, I told you it would go fast. I told you it would go quickly. We're at 8:17. Anybody you want to say hello to before I cut you loose?
Yeah, I want to say hi to Dr. Joe. And my kids, but they're sitting right here so they could hear me. So
all I hear them. Shout out to them. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. Be safe. If this show goes on, which I'm not positive it's got much of a, we'll see. I think it's starting to wind down as the whole pandemic begins to unwind. We'll see. If we do continue, maybe we'll give you a call back. Would you be willing to come back on sometime?
Of course.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. No one said no yet, unless they were just joking around. All right, with that, I'm going to cut you loose. Thanks again for joining us. Take care out there, all right?
Oh, before you go,
Yes, sir. Go.
I just thank you for having us on, and also thank you for what you're doing for your kids' school with the whole program that you set up there with the TV and everything. That's you don't see that in grade school, so nice job.
Thanks. SMS Sportsnet. Yeah, we're actually going to be producing an 8th grade show, recognition show live for them tomorrow. So I got to, as soon as this show's over, I got to start working back on that. But thanks for pointing that out, Tim.
No problem. Thank you.
Take
We'll
care.
See ya.
Bye. All right. Guest in, guest out. There they go. All right. I'm going to bring up the logo here. We'll bring in our second guest. Stand by. All right, we've successfully retrieved our second guest out of the CoVideo Live TV virtual green room. He's finishing off a handful of green M&Ms in the green room, and just still got a little bit. Got that? Got it? Okay, good. All right, let's bring him on. Let's give a nice CoVideo Live TV welcome to our second guest, a returning guest. Let's say hello. Let's shrink him down. It's only one of you. Let's say hello to Mr. Don Barron. Maybe know him as Coach Barron, Don Barron. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Smolin, and how are you today? Nice show, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It was good to have Tim and his wife Jessica on, high school classmates of mine. Hey, we were talking before we get into serious business. No, just kidding. We were talking earlier. I had you on way back when, and another mutual friend of ours saw the show. He ended up subsequently getting the COVID-19 and ended up in ICU, and he's recovering now. Jim Phillips, right? You knew him as a coach of his son, right?
Yes, through tennis. He's a great guy, very supportive sports parent, by the way, and you don't run into that a whole lot as a head coach. So whatever, position that his son earned on the team, he had to play for it. He had to earn a spot. The coach, when we worked with Jim, and he's a great guy, very down to earth, and he supports coaches all the way, which isn't always a thing. I'm not unexpected from Jim. What I would have thought. I just talked to him yesterday or the day before. He's doing well, recovering. Spent over a month in ICU. Now he's in long-term care, working his way out. So things are looking up, a little bit of improvement every day. Hello, Jim, if you're watching. I told you to be watching live if you figured it out. So at any rate, Don, you were on. I promised a big announcement. You were on. We were trying to get Mr. Rosengold and Mr. Richard Rosengold on to make the big announcement. Can you tell me a little bit about why he wasn't able to show up, or maybe you just want to get right into the announcement? Well, he tends to get very serious before big mainstream gigs like this. He allows me to speak on his behalf since I'm right now one of his biographers working on a major publication that will be coming out. And they were rehearsing for a show that they were going to be doing at the MGM Grand in Vegas, and it was going to be televised and live on HBO Plus. And so that fell through, obviously. So he was still having his game face on. And he doesn't like to do interviews the week before a show because he's all about the rehearsing, getting his lines straight, remembering the lyrics and so forth. And it's a very stringent workout plan that he has. So he just, lets me talk on his behalf every now and then.
So some of the rumors circulating in the trade magazines of his condensed a rehab program, trying to get into a rehab program and out of it in 1 week before next week's show are wrong. Patently false?
I can't talk anything about that.
I'm sorry I brought it up. I'm sorry. So there is a Rose and Golden show, though, coming up, though, right? A live show, right?
Yes, and this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's at an undisclosed locations. Again, the rumor mill all through, I believe it's in Northwest Indiana. That's all we're going to leave it at. But where the location is, I mean, I've heard anything from Angelo's Sicilian Cart to the basement of Donatello's to the Genesis Center. But we just, we have to keep it tight-lipped. Can't let anybody know. Nope.
I heard Planet Fitness or some of the fitness clubs were even possibilities. Yeah. When you mention an undisclosed location, sometimes people get a little fishy to imagine that it isn't even really going to happen, that there's really nothing figured out yet. But I understand that there is a place secured. Security has been secured, and it's all in order for a show, which would be Saturday. Next Saturday or Friday?
Friday the 29th.
Friday, May 29th. When are we kicking off? When is it kicking off?
Well, it'll be at 8:00, approximately, maybe, a few minutes later on, you'll go on to the Rose and Golden site. And that is when the event will live stream to everybody, to the millions. I'm pretty confident it's going to shatter records, for any type of streaming event. Even that graduation thing that they had last week with LeBron James and Obama that we're talking, that's and the Jonas Brothers, that's small potatoes.
Trying to break the internet.
Yes, we will. And there's going to be, it might break down. It could be. This could be big. This could be big.
So that would be through the Rose and Golden Facebook, or is it roseandgolden.com, or where is it going to appear? Where will we see it?
On the Facebook account, yes.
Got it. Look for Rose and Golden's public page on Facebook to find that live streaming event. Excellent. And for the cost of, how much are the tickets going for now?
Oh, well, what a deal, because the pay-per-view event that Rose and Golden was planning was going to be $29.99. And this one we're giving everybody, being with hard times and everything, this is a gimme. It's a rare gimme that we're going to do this, but it will be for no cost. And tips will be accepted. I guess that's a new thing that's going on. They're not like your tips on, home and gardening or any type of health and beauty tips, but actual, monetary funds. So.
All right. So you will get close to a camera at some point, and somebody will be able to reach out with a bill and virtually tuck it into your waistband, possibly?
Well, knowing Rose and Golden and Richard, a lot of ladies will be tucking that, exactly where they want to. So we'll just come in.
So somebody's checking in on the chat here and says something about, okay, so I guess people should be looking out for scams, because there was somebody, I heard from a Nigerian lawyer earlier about an inheritance that I had. It would only be nominally reduced because they would include 4 tickets to the Rose and Golden show. It just smelled fishy, so I really didn't go for it. But people, please keep your wits about you. All right, don't fall for those, right, Don?
Oh no, the straight shooters in the Rose and Golden party. It's it'll be put to good use, and you can guarantee that nothing fishy is going to be going on.
I've heard that the band has been practicing nearly nonstop. In fact, the manager had to step in and advise them, due to sheer exhaustion, that you cannot sustain this kind of practice schedule. Dial it back. Is that true too?
Maybe individually they might be practicing. Collectively, well, let's put it this way: they've also had a private rehearsal spot that they've been, getting after it, and yeah. So one rehearsal, but it's like just like riding a bike. It went pretty well. So individually, Richard has been doing his scales daily, trying to stay on the top of his game. Writing his lyrics or writing his jokes in between, which he's going to debut a few new ones from what I understand as well.
Nice.
So,
Hey, with the I know with so many people, and I know you were mentioning earlier that the band was having a hard time keeping track of the keys for the practice area, and with the the demand on these deep cleaning services, have you been able to find a service that was able to come and clean the rehearsal space up for you before you were able to safely come there and practice?
well, if you know the germs and the diseases that Rose and Golden, the band, has endured since the 70s, COVID, no, that's small potatoes compared to what we've been through. So, yeah.
Encouraging.
But they have to fumigate the place afterwards, yes.
So for those not, I can't imagine there would be people who aren't familiar with Rose and Golden, but can you name off, give me one or two songs that people are definitely going to be hearing? Or do you not want to reveal anything about a set list yet?
Let's go with some artists. So let's say Cliff Richard. We can go with some Casey and the Sunshine Band. We'll go with some Robbie Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little Glenn Campbell.
Excellent. I gotta put a quick request in. Hopefully you can touch on some Donnie Iris for me.
Ooh, you might just hear that. Okay. Okay.
All right. If the next time you talk to the boys in the band is what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, I can put a feeler out to them and see if they're up for it or not. That's a great song, by the way. Love is Like a Rock, I'm assuming.
That was the one I think I heard at the last Rose and Golden show. Which was the last Rose and Golden live appearance? What was it? Buddy and Pals?
No, it was at a place called 115 Bourbon Street.
Yes.
I believe.
Way back when, pre-COVID, which was like what, January, February? When was that?
It might have been early February. Yes.
Right, before the masks and before everything. All right. Well, will any of the band be using masks? I know it's a highly politicized thing now. Any expected or required?
I know one will. I mean, we don't like each other anyway, so we try to stay as far apart from everybody as possible. It's just all smoke and mirrors. We have to we're professionals and act like we get along, or they get along. The people in the band get along, from what I've heard, and so it's different. So it's going to be interesting just to see the dynamics of how that works. I know Richard likes to move around a lot and interact with the rest of the band, and you have to be respectful for what's going on. And
I know Fritz has had his share of scares with the immunocompromised systems, so we've got to look out for each other.
And no one wants to be around Fritz anyway, so we'll put him in his own spot.
You heard it here. You heard it here on GoVideo Live TV.
Yeah. The drummers will have plexiglass. I think we're going to put one around Fritz.
Saran wrap or solid sheets of plexiglass? Maybe just wrap him entirely in plastic wrap, possibly.
Yeah. He needs it.
That's right. You last time you were on, you are a returning guest. Actually, you were a pioneer. Was it episode 1 that you were actually a part of, right?
Yeah, episode 1. But I for once now want to ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
people rarely do. Feel free.
Okay, so I did some research too. So I feel honored. This is my 3rd time on the show. Can you tell me the most frequent guest in the history of the Johnny Carson show?
Most frequent.
It might surprise you.
Most frequent guest. Gosh, I would just totally be guessing.
I can give you a hint.
Yeah, give me one hint.
The top 3, their first names all begin with J. First names.
Top 3, first name begins with J. So I was thinking comedians. Rodney Dangerfield, I know, was a hit. He liked him. I was thinking Don Rickles, but that's a D. J.
I was very surprised with these. Two of the three, I was surprised. You're not going to guess two. Number one and number three, you wouldn't. Number two, you might.
All right,
You would-
comedians or not? Musicians, comedians. What was their preferred? Actors.
Okay, the
Number
top
one.
number one comedian.
Number one comedian. With a J. Gosh, Judge Reinhold.
Female.
Female. Judy Garland. No, I don't know. I really have no idea.
Okay. Number two was female. I'm sorry. Number one, your hint is kind of the tag along of a famous quartet or trio, I think, back from the 60s and 70s.
Tag along from the wow. I am blanking on this one. Could I phone a friend? No.
Got one right here.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, go.
I couldn't believe this. Joey Bishop.
Joey Bishop. Oh, I thought you said it was female. Joey Bishop. Well, when did the Tonight Show start though? What year did it start?
Well, in the 60s, if it would have been, you know what, I should have done some research, but I think it was, no, I did ask, it was Johnny Carson. So if you look at the Carson era, he was on 177 times. That's hard to believe.
Wow. Did he live close by or what? Jack Parr was the original host. Wasn't that the name? Jack Parr?
Yes.
I don't-
Parr, very good.
Somebody
But this
said
is the Johnny Carson era.
somebody said my style is part Merv Griffin, maybe some Johnny Carson. With a blank background and a very minimalist set. I know he's had some issues with the whole Me Too movement, but Charlie Rose was kind of what I was thinking. Just some honest questions and a simple show about the people.
You need to have that Charlie Rose.
Right, with the glasses down a little bit, or maybe James Lipton. Maybe I should have put a beard on or something.
You know, I could see some Dick Cavett.
I've heard that too, but I can't say I've seen a lot of Dick Cavett shows to even subconsciously be trying to imitate. I don't know.
Man, I caught an interview that he did. I guess he was real tight with Muhammad Ali.
Mhm.
Muhammad Ali was one of the, or Dick Cavett was one of the rare interviews that he would allow, because I guess they had a great relationship. And it was a biography on Ali. And man, he was very good. I barely remember him. I'm at that age a little bit, at the point where kind of can recollect, but it was cool to see. I mean, he was a neat interviewer, a lot of good skills. And just like you're groundbreaking. We're going to be talking about you.
Hey, actually, we did touch on it earlier that we're looking to, as things open up and as things get busier for me with my work and as people feel less need of connecting virtually, we're probably going to be winding the show down there. I don't think it's a big surprise to anybody. I think we got at least another week or so in the tank. Have some guests lined up for next week, so we'll see after that. Unless I could just turn the reins over to you, Don. You want me to just show you around the studio real quick and take over?
You know, I'm up for anything. I've dabbled in a lot of different things. Hey, but I do want to tell you, number 2 and 3.
Oh, yeah. Well, back to Johnny. Go. Yes.
Joan Rivers.
I should have known. She hosted a lot.
And number 3, a tie, John Davidson.
Wow. John Davidson.
That's a mind blower.
Yeah.
John Davidson and Bob Newhart.
I believe Bob. Joan Rivers was also, do they count her hosting as being on?
I don't think so. This was just guest, not as a guest host.
And
so,
John Davidson, was he Real People? Was he the Real People host? One of them?
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
With Sarah Purcell. I will say this, though,
Yes.
that I remember my grandmother used to say, this was like in the early 80s, she would say, she'd pinch my cheek and she'd say, my little John Davidson. So that's pretty, I'll take that. He was a star.
I'll take that. How did he do in the Battle of the Network Stars? Or how would you do? I'm sure you'd sweep the tennis.
Tennis, I do good. I don't think the paddle boat, I would embarrass myself. Or the kayak. Was it the kayak?
You were more out on water. You were definitely better in the motorboat. So How about real quick, if we can get your opinion on what's going on, the releasing of things, the opening of things. Last time we were on, we talked a lot about school. School's out for summer, if I can quote Alice Cooper. What do you think about where we're heading locally here in the state of Indiana?
It's anybody's guess. I don't know. I think it's going to be a slow transition. And in all honesty, everything that I've kind of have heard, even in the fall, who knows? I mean, we're already preparing at the school that I teach at in Illinois to be ready for distance learning in the fall. Don't let it catch you by surprise. So, man, I mean, it's just a touchy-feely thing. Just have faith that our leaders are doing the right thing. And, it's a hard call.
I know it. All right, we've gone way over time here. Who knows? I think we still have a few live viewers left, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. All right. My sister-in-law says Joan Rivers. That would be number 2, Suzanne. Joan Rivers, number 2, right, Don?
Yes, Joan Rivers, number 2. John Davidson, number 3.
All right. All right, it's time. It's that time in the show where I ask you if there's anybody that you want to say hello to before we cut you loose.
Hey, all the friends from St. Mike's, I want to say hello to. All of them, good people. We miss everyone. Good times out there.
Yeah.
And it was cool in the prior conversation when you talk about the sports and you setting up, the video program for them. That's just awesome. Those are great times, man. And then your kids are going to remember that forever. And it's just awesome. Great network of people.
Yeah, hats off to Mike Small, who assisted me last year, too bad we're losing him. His son Rory is graduating, and he contributed significantly to the SMS Sportsnet program. So it'll go on for one more year, at least, with Mitch in 8th grade. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll be back and have some CYO sports in August to cover, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. It's not just the school aspect, but the athletes, man. Just tough.
All part of it. All right, Don, with that, I'm going to roll you off. Thanks for joining us for your 3rd time. You're my second third-timer. Your parting gift is in the mail. It's on its way over to you, all right?
Hopefully it's that stimulus check.
It's stimulating. I can guarantee you that. All right. See you, Don. Take care. Be safe. All right, and there goes Don. All right, let's roll up the music here. I think we're at that point in the show where it's time to play Mike Harmon's composition here. My guest can't hear it, but it is a good little song. That wraps up our extended episode number 43. Join us back here next week. We'll do Tuesday and Thursday. Co-Video Live TV episode number 44. Coming into a Memorial Day weekend. Everybody be safe out there. Take a minute sometime over the weekend to remember the reason for Memorial Day. And remember the people who gave their lives to make your freedoms possible. With that, we'll end it. We will see you all later. Thanks for joining us. See you next week. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe as always.